Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're peeling back the layers on what I think is one of the most underrated factors in driving safety. We spend so much time focusing on, steering and speed, the forces acting horizontally. But what about the forces you can't really see? The ones acting straight up and down on the vertical axis.
It really is. It's that sensation, that every driver has felt at some point, usually when they least expect it. That sudden, brief feeling of weightlessness when you crest a steep hill or that jarring instability when you hit a major pothole carrying some speed.
Right, people just dismiss it. Oh, it's just a bumpy ride.
But the sources we've compiled show it's so much more than that. This vertical motion is fundamentally changing the physics that dictates whether your tires grip the road or not.
And that's really the mission today. This isn't about ride comfort. This is about absolute vehicle control. These vertical forces, they create this profound instability because they momentarily reduce the single most important factor for handling.
The amount of effective grip your tires have on the road surface.
Exactly. And we want to arm you, the driver, with the knowledge to anticipate these situations.
Yeah, we're diving deep into the dynamics so you can adjust your driving based on physics, not just, instinct. We're answering questions like, how exactly does this vertical load transfer compromise your tire traction on an uneven road? What happens to your critical braking distance when your car loses that vital downward pressure, say, right after you hit a crest?
And most critically, because speed is the silent multiplier here, what precise role does velocity play in turning a small bump into a major safety hazard? Our deep dive provides the clear explanations you need to manage these dynamics and reduce danger, whether you're on a smooth highway or rough backcountry asphalt. So let's start with the central, perhaps counterintuitive idea here. A vehicle slide or, a catastrophic loss of control can be induced entirely because of a force acting along the vertical axis. We often picture a slide as a sideways thing, a skid. This is different.
It is a critical distinction and goes right to the heart of tire mechanics. When we talk about losing control vertically, we are talking about losing the purchase necessary to steer or brake or accelerate. The fundamental consequence of any vertical force, whether the road pushes you up or drops away from you, is a massive momentary reduction in the crucial downward pressure of the tires onto the road.
So if I'm getting this right, you're using the car's momentum against itself. You're essentially reducing the effective weight that's pressing the tire onto the road. You're unloading the tire.
Precisely. We call that vertical load transfer, and that's what makes this phenomenon so distinct. In normal driving, the weight of the car is distributed across all four tires. But when you hit a sudden vertical force, that load distribution shifts instantly. For instance, cresting a hill causes a rapid temporary reduction in load on the front axle and maybe even the rear.
And that loss of load, that instantly translates into a reduced friction threshold. So if you try to steer or brake hard while that tire is unloaded,
The tire runs out of available traction instantly. It just gives up. That's right. And this can reach an extreme result. If the vertical force applied is great enough, traction is lost completely. And as our sources emphasize, in the most dramatic and serious cases, that sudden change in vertical force is enough for the vehicle to actually lift off from the road surface entirely, even if it's only for a fraction of a second.
and that's the danger. That brief moment where the driver has zero ability to respond safely.
Exactly.
That mechanism, the catastrophic loss of downward pressure, that's the core danger here. It doesn't matter if your tires are brand new or your brakes are perfect. If the tire isn't firmly pressed to the ground, the physics just won't let you use them effectively. And this isn't some rare event. It's tied directly to common road imperfections, and it's magnified exponentially by speed.
Which leads us directly into the specifics. We know the mechanism. Now we need to identify the triggers.
Okay, drilling down further. What specific road conditions or even mechanical failures are listed in our source material that directly cause this? Because what we find is that the driver's decision about speed is the common, necessary denominator in nearly every single scenario.
That's the takeaway for you, the listener. The road might present the condition, but it's often the speed that turns a minor inconvenience into a catastrophic safety incident. The driver is applying the necessary vertical force through their own velocity.
The first, and maybe the most common cause, is hitting a bump in the road. But the crucial caveat is this only causes that traction loss if you hit it at a high enough speed.
Think about the physics there for a second. The bump applies a sudden upward impulse force. At low speeds, your suspension, the springs, the dampers, it has time and capacity to compress and absorb that energy smoothly. It keeps the tire in contact. But at a high enough speed, the inertia of the car is so large, and the time for the suspension to react is so short,
It gets overwhelmed.
it's completely overwhelmed. The car effectively jumps, the tires unload, and grip just vanishes.
And that's closely related to the second cause, right? Hitting a distinct obstacle in the road, like a piece of debris. Again, only if it's encountered at a sufficient speed. The physical reaction is almost identical to the bump. It's a sudden, sharp, vertical input opposing gravity.
Now here's where it gets really interesting, because the third cause listed is the exact opposite condition, traveling over a dip in the road. This also causes vertical forces, but the crucial note here is that it requires a minimum speed to create that loss of contact.
Wait, okay, hold on. Why a minimum speed for a dip, but a high enough speed for a bump? That seems backwards.
It's an excellent question. When you hit a bump, the force is pushing against the weight of the car. When you go into a dip, the car is sort of falling into it, and your suspension compresses. When you exit the dip and the road surface comes back up to meet you, your suspension rapidly rebounds. It extends. If you're going too slowly, the suspension just handles that rebound normally. But if you hit the dip at that minimum required speed, the suspension is rebounding so fast that the tire momentarily loses contact as the weight of the car lifts relative to the road surface. That's what causes that weightless feeling.
That makes perfect sense. So the dip uses the vehicle's own rebound forces against itself to momentarily lighten the load.
Exactly. And then we have two less common but highly dangerous scenarios. The first is hydroplaning, hitting a pool of water at a high enough speed. While we always talk about hydroplaning as a water barrier problem, the physical effect on the tire is fundamentally vertical.
Oh, I see the connection now. The wedge of water created by the tire achieves the exact same physical result as hitting a bump or cresting a hill. The tire is lifted off the solid road surface.
Which leads to that same total traction loss. Exactly. The tire is no longer interacting with the road's frictional surface, but it's floating on a layer of liquid. And finally, we have a mechanical cause. Defective suspension that allows a wheel to bounce excessively. This is a crucial reminder that even if the driver is perfect and the road is smooth, a mechanical failure in the very system designed to manage these forces can also lead directly to uncontrollable instability.
So if we move into the mechanics, understanding the fundamental physics here helps us see why these scenarios are so dangerous. A moving vehicle isn't just dealing with forward momentum or cornering forces. It's a dynamic system. It's subject to four main vertical forces all at the same time.
Let's look at this like a constant battle for grip. Your car is constantly fighting against a few primary players.
The first one is the constant you rely on, weight. This is just the force exerted by gravity acting on the vehicle's mass. Its key function is providing stability and handling. And it's the original source of the compression forces on your suspension system. It's your baseline grip factor.
Right. And moving beyond gravity, we introduce the first antagonist, aerodynamic forces. These are created by the airflow around the vehicle, and at certain speeds they begin working actively against the weight. This includes drag, of course, but critically it includes lift.
Lift. The force we usually associate with airplanes, but it acts on cars too. It's actively trying to lighten the car, subtracting from the weight available for traction. This is the mechanism that kind of pre-primes the car for instability, especially at high speed. If your car weighs, say, 1,500 kilograms, but lift is subtracting 50 kilograms at speed, you have 50 kilograms less margin for error when you hit that bump.
That connection is key. That reduced available normal force, that baseline grip. It means that a vertical bump that would have been manageable at low speed suddenly becomes destabilizing at high speed, because the tire is already partially unloaded by the air pushing underneath it.
Then we move to the interaction between the tires and the asphalt, which our sources define as road surface forces. This is where the whole system comes together, and where traction is either sustained or lost. There are two crucial components here. First is the normal force.
The normal force is the hero of the story. It is the upward force exerted by the road surface on the tires. And critically, it should be equal and opposite to the effective weight of the vehicle. This is that downward pressure we've been talking about. Think of it like this. If you could stand on a scale as you drove, the normal force is what the scale would read. When you crest a hill and feel weightless, the normal force is temporarily dropped dramatically.
And the second component of road surface forces is the frictional force. This is the grip. It's created directly by the interaction between the tires and the road, and this is what directly affects traction, steering, and braking ability. And the rule is simple. Frictional force is directly proportional to the normal force. So when those vertical forces momentarily reduce the normal force, when you feel light, the frictional force drops immediately. And that's exactly where your loss of control occurs.
Which brings us to the final vertical force,
Sure.
suspension forces. If the other three forces are the problem, the suspension system is the designated manager, the solution.
It's the complex shock absorbing system, right?
Exactly. Its job is to manage and dampen the chaotic input from the other three forces, weight, road surface, aerodynamics, and keep the tire in constant steady contact with the road. It compresses when the car is pushed down, and it rebounds when the car is lightened. A well-tuned suspension absorbs the shock of the bump so the tire contact patch remains constant. A failing suspension, like we noted earlier, it can't manage these dynamics effectively, and that leads directly to instability. What's so fascinating here is that understanding these dynamics isn't just theoretical, it's fundamental to engineering and safety. This constant battle against vertical forces dictates how vehicles are built.
Yeah, the sources confirm that engineers and designers use this deep understanding to optimize the design of vehicles for stability, handling, and safety. They are actively trying to counteract lift, manage weight, and tune suspension systems so that the normal force remains as consistent as possible no matter the road conditions.
Think about that. When you buy a performance car, a huge part of the cost goes into advanced damper and spring tuning, systems that react in milliseconds to ensure the tire maintains full contact when you hit a high-speed corner or uneven pavement. They are building a physical defense against the very vertical forces we've been discussing.
And for the driver, for you listening, this means you can use this knowledge to adjust your driving habits. If you see a dip or a rise in the road, your brain should be processing that information not just as an obstacle, but as a guaranteed moment of vertical load transfer. Vertical forces inherently influence performance and drastically increase the risk of accidents when they aren't managed properly by slowing down.
You might be driving the speed limit, but if that velocity is high enough relative to that specific road imperfection, you're actively initiating a loss of critical traction. Remember the synthesis. Speed, dips, bumps, and even hydroplaning all translate into reduced downward pressure on your tires. And the result is instability, a weightless sensation, and severely compromised braking capability right when you need it most.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, your ability to control your vehicle, to brake efficiently, and to steer accurately relies entirely on consistent downward pressure, on that normal force and the resulting frictional force. Anything that opposes that consistent pressure, especially vertical bumps, steep dips, and high speeds, it compromises everything.
And given that vertical forces are confirmed to cause a loss of control or increase stopping distance, we leave you with this final thought. Think about that common experience. Choosing your speed when you approach a minor hill crest or maybe an uneven railway crossing. That simple act, it instantly transforms into a critical factor in managing vehicle stability because you are managing vertical force. You are determining whether your car remains anchored to the road or if you ask inertia to briefly defy gravity, sacrificing your grip in the process. It forces you to view your velocity not just as how fast you're moving forward, but how aggressively you're applying a vertical force against your own safety. That's a concept worth carrying with you every time you get behind the wheel.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.